All right, welcome back to the Boys 161st Street, episode 150. The Yankees are 3.5 games back in the AL wildcard, 9 games back in the AL East. That's probably all but done. We'll get into that in a second. Yankees lose 3 out of 4 in Boston by blowing 2 of them in jaw-dropping fashion. What else is new? This is literally becoming an expected thing at this point. Boone said we'll bounce back like they have before. I don't know what he was referring to when he said that. We'll get into all that and a lot more. The deadline is Friday at 4 p.m. And Fangraphs gives us a 33.2% chance to make the playoffs. That has been your rundown, if you live under a rock, what has been happening with the Yankees for the past 4 games. We went into this series hoping that we would at least split the series, and we very well could have if we didn't have epic meltdowns.
Should have won 3.
Should have won 3. Didn't. Now we go into... Is it in Tampa or is it Tampa?
Oh, it's in
Tampa.
So
we're going into the Trop, so that will be fun.
3 games.
Before we get into all of that, today you got Luke. You got a full house. Luke, Chandler, Damon, and Murph.
Fun.
How are we doing, boys?
Oh, how fun.
Chandler's having a tough day today.
I'm not
going to
lie to you.
I'm
I'm pretty fucking bad. Well, aside from the Yankees just multiple collapses over and over every single week, I got fucking smoked sitting in a parking spot today. So that was cool for me. Some old senile bitch just ran straight into me. And then to boot, she told the cop that I pulled out in front of her, which was just not true, seeing as I was sitting in my spot watching TikToks. So go me. I get to pay for that. And yeah, so I'm having a bad day.
Murph, how are you doing? You seem like you're a little bit happier.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit better. Sorry, I'm trying to figure my headphones out here last second.
It's a great time to do it.
Yeah,
you know, this is the exact time we should figure out how the headphones are working.
Thank God we didn't sit here and test all of our sounds for the last half hour.
Like we were just
if we had done that,
No,
then that would have
well,
looked bad on you.
We weren't charged yet.
Yeah.
So, Damon, would you like to tell people how
I'm
you're
just
doing?
happy to be here.
Happy to be here kind of guy. So the Yankees suck. I am upset. And I'm upset because they keep bringing us in and just making us give us hope and life for the time being. I mean, I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure the last like 14 or so games, we've had a good record throughout, and it doesn't seem like it because of the way we've lost has been an epic meltdown fashion against the Astros and against the fucking Red Sox twice in one series. So it doesn't seem like it. But then when you look at it and you have a day to reassess and regroup like we have in the past couple episodes after big meltdowns, we're still 3.5 out of the wild card, and the deadline is approaching. So I wanted to talk about that, and basically, why don't we just start out with our panic meters right now, because we are still very much in the running for the wild card, and I'm at a point personally where I don't care, because if this team does make a wild card, I do think we have a chance to win the one game, because Garrett Cole versus anybody else, I'll take that. But like, this team's not going to do fucking anything, and I don't think the amount of moves that we'll make at the deadline, even if it is for long shots like Story and other people, I don't think those are ways that we could fix this team. Chandler said it best in tweet form. Would you like to inform the people of what your thoughts were firing on the tweeters?
I'm paraphrasing here, and take this with a grain of salt because I'm having a pretty bad day. But I said the trading for Trevor Story is basically the equivalent of going out and destroying / melting the iceberg that sunk the Titanic a week after the fact. It's too late. It doesn't matter. Trade for Trevor Story, who's a rental, because do you really believe that with the payroll we have and with the bargaining agreement up, which is going to lead to a strike, which is going to leave poor little Hal losing like $7, do you really think we're going to sign him long term? Be real with yourself. So we're it's just doing too little too late at this point, in my opinion. I really don't think there's any trade that can fix this team unless you want to sell the entire farm and you want to go get Scherzer and Story and Gallo and whoever else. The only way that you're going to do anything that's going to be meaningful, you can get Story, you can get Scherzer, you can get one or the other, and you'll win the wild card. And you might win the DS, but you're not going to win the championship series. You're not going to win the World Series. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, Brendan Cuddy on Twitter, he tweeted this out earlier today. He said, just like in 2016, the Yankees are not one piece away. He said, how Albert Einstein defined insanity.
I say that. I basically defined it now. So
All
don't
right.
even paraphrase the quote that we've always...
Albert Einstein, okay, whatever.
But we've
That's
said it so many
besides the
times
point.
on the show, so...
I know. He's saying
Fuck Albert
it's time to
Einstein.
embrace the crazy and just let this team hope it rebounds because it's not worth selling off top prospects at this point. Essentially reiterating what you just said, Chandler, in terms of we're not, if we sign Trevor Story, cool, great, that's okay. But to be honest, we've been putting up 9, 6, 6, 5, besides the Red Sox game too. But like those are all the runs we've scored in the past, 5 or 6 games. That's pretty decent offense in my opinion. It's really just like this pitching implosion. We can go out there and get some good hitters. We can go out there and like get more production on the offensive side, but we have struggles on both sides of the ball. And we're not one piece away. We're 2 or 3 pieces away from actually being a contender this year. And yeah, maybe we can just kind of stick it out and hope for the best and make a wild card and then not sell off top prospects. But I think that, in my opinion, if we're going to trade for somebody, it needs to be 2 people that can fill a gap, because this team is not going to win with one addition.
So when you look at the
Can I
entire
add one
team
thing
down
real
the
quick?
road, like we're missing things on every fucking aspect of the team. Like there's a reason. It's not just like random chance that at any point during the season, one of all of the, like every part of our team, every facet of our team has sucked and been like the biggest dumpster fire at some point in time. Like the relievers were awesome at one point. They suck right now. The starters were the best in the fucking league at one point. They went through a time where they were the worst in the league. The bats went through a time where they were putting up 0 runs. It's not a coincidence why this is happening. It just means that you are across the board not very good, and that doesn't make that we're more than a couple pieces away from being a contender. I genuinely believe that we are like 5 or 6 away from being 5 or 6 big pieces away, because we don't even have the depth. When you look at the bullpen, which used to be our strength, I mean, look at all of these members of the bullpen that are allegedly, I mean, not allegedly, they're getting major innings on this team, and guys like, Chapman, Britton, Green, and all these guys are just, they're getting those scheduled off days and the rests and all that. So it's like they can't go 3 days in a row. That's the way they do it, and no other team does it like that. There's maybe a few that handle relievers like that, but no one else handles it like that. And when you have no depth whatsoever, and you have guys like Krisky getting back-to-back games where he pitches in the 10th inning or in the fucking bottom of the 9th, I don't remember where the fuck it is. That's a problem, and it's not one person away. And I don't know what to do. And I've said this before, just to finish my rant a little bit, but before we even went and lost 3 out of 4 in Boston, I was saying before that even if we do, like, I don't even know if it would be a good idea to buy, because then we're just losing all these prospects. And if we buy, lose all our prospects and come up short, then we are in a really shitty spot come October or whatever, when we get bounced from the playoffs, if we even do make it. So then we're this pissed off and this sad for even longer. And I don't want that for this podcast. This podcast, by that time, if we sell off our future, this podcast would probably fizzle out, to be honest, because it's going to get irritating to watch this team, and it's just going to be ridiculous to talk about them twice a week. So I'm thinking about future us right now. But
Dude, the worst argument I've heard, and I wanted to say this right after Damon, because people are talking about, like the story thing. You get people that reply like, we're only 3.5 games out of the wild card, or it's some combination of we're only 3.5 games out / Jesus Christ. So we're only 3.5 games out, and you can sign them to an extension. What the what do you, if you can sign him to an extension and you want to sign him to an extension, then what's the fucking point of wasting the prospects for a year that you have no shot at winning the World Series? Everybody with eyes can tell that this team is, like you said, we're not 1 piece away. We're not 2 pieces away. We are 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe away from winning a World Series. What's the point of doing it and extending him? Even if, like, Story's not their guy. We know that. They've been looking at Seager since 2018. Since Machado was on the market in the Orioles, Seager's been on the Yankees' radar. So Story's not even your guy. You're just forcing it to try and make the playoffs. And if you make the playoffs, big fucking whoop. Like, get in and whatever happens, but that's not going to happen. When you have Cole, Montgomery, and Tyone going out, and that's no slight at them. Montgomery and Tyone have been great. But when you have those 3 going out, in a playoff series against you fucking name it. When you got that going against Kershaw, Bueller, and Urias, or fucking Scherzer, at this point, they might go get him too. Or you have that going against Snell and Darvish, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody on that one. But either way,
We get it.
you're fucked. You're fucked. There's no point in doing this just to make the playoffs, just to say, oh, hey, look, the Yankees made the playoffs again. Look at that. We've got 20-something years in a row with an above 500 record. Who fucking cares?
I think it's less about that. It's more about the front office saying that we didn't miss the playoffs. That's what they're saving face.
It's saving face. And at this point, you have to swallow your pride and be like, hey, I fucked up. And like, honestly, at this point, if we got a press conference with Brian Cashman, like, hey, I fucked up on the construction of this roster. Obviously, like, I love the guys we have, but clearly this isn't a World Series caliber roster. We're going to come out and do new things next year. We understand, and we need to kind of retool. I would respect that way more than just overpaying for one person just to make the playoffs, to be like, look, it didn't go our way this year. We were one bounce away in the playoffs. Like, shut the fuck up. You can't be one bounce away every year for 12 years.
And I wanted to bring up something real quick right before you go, Murphy, is the run differential in division this year. Like I said, it's no secret why we've been so inconsistent this year. And when you look at the entire year as a whole right now, because we've gone on a roller coaster where we've won games, and I actually have a graphic that I wanted to show real quick about that roller coaster, which I'm sure all of you have seen. But let me pull it up real quick. But I mean, the run differential, while I pull it up, Boston has a plus 68 run differential. Tampa Bay has a 92 run differential, plus 92. We have plus 5. That is almost the same, if not the same, as the Marlins. The Marlins have a plus 1. The Blue Jays, even, who are a little bit below us right now, half game back, are plus 86, and the Orioles are minus 130. But it's no secret why we're so fucking bad. We can't outscore. The way to win baseball games is to score more than your opponent, and we're just not doing it. We're doing it by a little bit. So while Chandler's camera just fucking craps out, something that I saw that was a little bit crazy when you think about this entire season as a whole and the kind of the roller coaster ride put into numbers is the first 15, we go 5-10. The next 32, we go on a run and go 23-9. Then the next 18, 5-13. Next 9, 7-2. Then the next 8, 1-7. And then the next 12, 9-3. And now we're 1-3 in the last 4. So it's just ridiculous how on and off we get with this fucking team. And it's like I said, it's no fucking secret. And it's not even just those streaks. It's throughout the entire season we have a plus 5 run differential. This team fucking sucks.
So, see, now you got my head going on a different sort of a tangent. But I guess out of that run differential, I would love to see what our 8th and 9th inning run differential is, because it has to be minus like 35.
That'd be terrifying to look at. I'd be terrified to look at that.
Because it feels like every game, obviously this isn't always what happens, but out of the last couple of games it has been, we're up 2 or 3 runs going into the 7th, and then we blow it. And then if we win, it's an extra innings.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I wrote down the box score, and I put in from the 7th inning on, just in the series alone, this last 4. From the 7th inning on, we gave up 13 runs against the Red Sox. From the first 6 innings, we gave up 6.
Yeah.
So.
It's about right.
And
like you mentioned earlier, at the beginning of the year, the bullpen was the best in the Major League Baseball for about.
And now it's melting down.
It's crazy.
Chandler, you back?
Can't hear him.
He's not back. So why don't we talk about whether or not you guys want to be buyers or sellers? Since the deadline is on Friday at 4 o'clock, do you guys want to see the Yankees be buyers? Because I personally do not.
Go ahead, Murph. Go ahead.
I just feel like my mind changes on this every single day. Like, some days I'm like, oh, like a week ago, I was saying I want to go get Gallo. Now I don't want Gallo at all. I don't really want them to do anything. I think what Chandler said about Trevor Story makes a lot of sense. I don't think Trevor Story is the best idea right now. I think it almost seems like I was actually talking to somebody at the bar that I work at, and they were saying that if we go out and get Trevor Story, that it's Cashman trying to grab at straws to save his job and like bring in one name that's supposed to save everything. I don't know how true that is, but it made a little bit of sense to me, where at what point are we blaming Boone and at what point are we blaming Cashman, to where he uses this deadline to try to solidify his job.
And it's funny that you mentioned that too, because we've talked about before this week how we haven't had a Boone moment where we're like, oh my God, he's been fucking horrible. Like, how could you make that decision? And he does here. And like clockwork, when we mention he's been good relatively, he immediately goes out and fucks things up. Like that Britton situation. Like, why don't you bring in Britton to get a ground ball to get out of the fucking get a double play and get the fuck out of the inning? Why are you leaving in Lasagna when he clearly doesn't have it? Why are you leaving in Krisky when he's throwing 4 fucking wild pitches, which is ridiculous to have in 1 inning, and he fucking blows up the entire... Like, why are you doing those things? I don't understand. And the whole rest thing is something that bothered me forever, every time they fucking do it. But at like every other team is just playing the players. Like, they're playing them every chance they get. So
yeah. Here's the thing. I definitely think Boone has been doing a terrible job. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, Look at the situation last night where we're winning going into the 9th inning or 8th inning. It's always the 8th inning. Sorry, it's always the 8th inning we implode. But we're going into the 8th inning with a lead, and we throw the Wazga in there. That's who every Yankee fan is probably confident to see at that point in time, right? I know I'm happy to see him. I don't want to see fucking pretty much anyone else. Like, if I'm in a situation like that, I want Wazga because he's been the best all year, right? And then he just the bed.
But when he clearly doesn't fucking have it, coming off the COVID
Correct.
IL, his second day in a row
100%.
pitching too, he clearly doesn't fucking have it. He doesn't have it. I don't know. I don't know if I wrote
hits in a
down.
row. It's 3 hits in a row.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna look up. So 3 hits in a row. It clearly doesn't have it. Bring him the fuck out.
Yeah, but who does? But who does have it?
Somebody
Nobody.
who isn't or hasn't already shown today. Like, it's a new fucking person. Just throw somebody else out there. Don't let him just ride. It's so weird how Boone has these situations where he pulls people too early and then leaves them in too long. Like, just find a middle ground or just fucking think a little bit. Like, when you see somebody who just came off the COVID IL and he hasn't pitched in a while, maybe it'd be a good idea if he's showing like he's not having a good night to pull him. Maybe that would be it. You've done it with fucking other people. Adam Ottavino, when he was going through his rough patch, he threw like 1 batter and got pulled. So I don't understand how you can have 2 completely different sides of the spectrum there in terms of like the way he uses the bullpen. So it's just fucking ridiculous. It's obvious that he's not going to be the coach at the end of this year, so there's no use to continue to argue about it. But if Chandler is back, I'd like to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you
hear me?
willing to be a buyer or a seller at this deadline?
Absolutely sell. There's 0 point. That's like I said. There's no point in buying
So who are
when
you
you're
selling?
buying when you're buying just to save face. There's no point in fucking buying. You're not buying for anything other than your own job, and you're mortgaging the future. And then you're just going to get fired later down the road because you don't have anybody coming up.
Agreed.
My take is what I was saying before. Like, I'm only going to support us buying anything if we buy somebody and have a few other players that tag along, which is not going to happen. We're not going to go out there and get 2 superstars coming into the Yankees. That's not going to happen. So realistically, in the world that we've seen with Yankee Land, we've made it this far into, 3 years in a row now where we've gone with the same team and haven't made a move at the deadline. Like, it's getting old. We tried it. It didn't work. And if we don't make a big move with 2 or 3 players that can come help this team, which I don't think is going to happen, then just fucking sell. And just, like, there's no point to buy just to kind of make people happy for another month. That's going to happen. We're all going to be excited for a month. And then that's going to be it. Murph, what's up?
I agree that we shouldn't buy, but at the same time, I feel like we don't have a ton of pieces that are either that we're that willing to sell or that valuable to sell. So how, like, are we feeling if we go through the deadline without doing anything or without making?
Terrible.
That's stupid. You have to do something.
That's what you got. If nothing else, you have to move the contract. Since you're not willing to go over the luxury tax, you have to, at the bare minimum, move the contracts that are weighing you down. If the luxury tax is really that big of a deal, then move the contracts, whatever it takes, to shed payroll. And that way you can bring up these young superstars that are doing well. I mean, our minor league system, I think they have the best record in all the minor leagues or something close to it.
They do.
So move money so you can bring them up and then sign a key free agent or 2 that can complement them. Like, that would be my version of selling, because obviously I don't think they're going to trade Judge. The Giants make the most sense, but who the fuck are you going to get from the Giants? Joey Bart? They are so dick hard for Gary. Who cares? Like, That's what I'm saying. There's nobody on this team that's going to bring back a prospect package other than Judge that's worth trading. So at that point, you're just shedding salary, which is not the ideal scenario, but it's a step in the right direction, I guess. Because if you do nothing, you find yourself in the same exact spot next year. Because we have one free agent. I was at Murphy. You were reading an article the other day. We have one or two free agents. Exactly. So it's not like we're shedding a huge amount of payroll, in the offseason. So you're returning the same exact team. You're not signing anybody because you can't go over that fucking luxury tax. You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing, and you're returning the same team next year and accepting mediocrity until contracts run out.
Yep. And here's the other thing too. It's like, even if we were to sell a big-ish name, everyone's value is pretty fucking low right now. Like, unless you're a superstar.
Like their AAV or like their physical.
No, their trade value.
Like their trade value. Their trade value.
The only value is Judge.
Like, like the highest values are minor league players right now.
You got Judge and Gio. Those are basic. And Glaber, I guess, has kind of.
Gio and Glaber are making like $3 and $4 million a year right now.
No. I understand that. I'm just saying, as far as prospect value goes, those are basically the only three you're going to get anything for, because nobody's going to want to eat Chapman's salary at 30-something years old. Nobody's going to want to eat Britton's salary at 30-something years old, who's played 2 games this year.
And nobody wants fucking Chapman to begin with right now.
Or Britton.
Is that we're selling these guys for spare parts. We're talking about like building the farm system by selling, and then it's kind of one or the other. If we're going to dump these big contracts, we're going to get a bunch of little leaguers in return.
Well, what I'm saying is you're dumping the contracts so you can hopefully bring up. Exactly. You're not dumping them to try and bring back massive hauls of players. You're not trying to trade Mookie Betts to get back a Verdugo and a Jeter Downs and all them. Or I know that's not the best example. It's just the first one that came to my mind. You're doing it to shed payroll.
And that the next guy who comes into the Cashman role, if Cashman gets fired, has a clean slate to work with and Yankee money, which may or may not be anything. I mean, the way
I don't think Cashman's going to get fired. I really don't. He's still got another year on his contract, and I just like Howe's blind loyalty to him. I really don't think it's going to happen. I think we're stuck with this regime, not Boone, but Cashman and Howe until basically Howe sells the team.
If you can get out of these contracts, if there's any way, and like you said, Murph, we're not going to get anything in return, which is fine. So if you can get out of the contracts, I don't even think that's possible, because that would almost be too good to be true if we could just be like, oh, let's just get rid of all these bad contracts and then start fresh, and we can just sign free agents at this offseason. It just doesn't work like that. We're not going to be able to just wipe the slate clean and get all of the bad contracts off. If we do get bad contracts off, we're going to have to pay for half of a bad contract and still get nothing in return. So at that point, it's like, is it even worth it if your money's tied up into nothing, players that aren't on your team, like other, like Bobby Bonilla and all like that type of contracts that we'd be paying off forever? Like, at that point, it doesn't even make sense. Where I'm at now after these conversations is almost just like standing pat, waiting for the guys to come back, and those deadline deals that they always talk about. Kluber's allegedly coming back. Sevy is coming back if he doesn't get hurt again. Like, Stanton is allegedly playing the outfield. Judge is coming back. All these guys are coming back. So where I'm at now is I almost don't want to see a single move at the deadline, because I don't want to risk the future. I don't want to sell off parts for spare parts like you were saying, Murph, because it's really not going to benefit us that much in terms of a prospect package and money, like you said. I'm almost like, don't even make a fucking move. Just, if this team decides to wake up and be the team they were supposed to be, because they are and they should be.
They're never going to be that team, though.
They totally can. So I don't know why
they cannot. They cannot. We've had the same team every year since 2017.
But I'm saying,
they haven't made a World Series.
I'd rather not mortgage the future on any, like, there's no reason to mortgage the future to make, like, if this team isn't going to come back and be good again, then anybody we get isn't going to change anything, because the people we do have aren't good, apparently. So it doesn't make sense to make a move. It doesn't make sense to sell. Honestly, we should just fucking forfeit the season, because this team is better off just fucking sending it into next season.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand how it doesn't make sense to sell, even if it's not, even if you're not getting these super high value people back. It makes plenty of sense to sell, because even if you're freeing up half a contract, and I know you're not going to sell everybody. I know you're not going to get out of Giancarlo. I know you're not going to get out of Chapman and Britton and all these scot-free. But if you can do a little wiggle room to where because we can all agree that this team, one, A, is not going to win a World Series as it's constructed, and B, there is a good core there. So if you can keep the good core, move up the minor league pieces, and free up even a little bit of money to sign one free agent or two free agents, that's fine. Like, shedding money is a good thing in this situation since we're so scared to go over the luxury
But
tax.
this is
Staying
something that I
pat does
dislike.
nothing.
This is something
Staying
that I
pat does
very
nothing.
much dislike about baseball is that we're 3.5 games out of the wild card. This is just bad for baseball's competitiveness as a whole, because if we're sitting here right now saying that we should sell when we're 3.5 games out of a wild card potential playoff, which isn't even the expanded playoff, it's the regular playoff, and we're talking about selling, baseball's in a bad fucking place because it's going to be top heavy and there aren't going to be people trying to fucking win, where if you have a chance to make the playoffs, you go ahead and do it. Like, you do that in football with a wild card team. Like, if you make the wild card, you want to go out and do it. If you have a chance to make it, you do it. You smash through the button and you go after it, whether that is buying more assets right now or not, just not selling is my point. But if you have half the teams, almost all the teams, if you look at the top teams right now, the Dodgers, Padres, other teams like that, you don't think you can beat them, and that's fine. But like, if you have a chance to make the playoffs, anything goes. Murph is a big NHL fan. That anything goes in the NHL playoffs. Anything goes in the MLB playoffs as well. So like,
That's
if
not
you,
true, though.
my main point is, like, if you have a chance to make the playoffs, you don't sell off because you don't think you can make it. Because who the fuck knows? The Nationals were not supposed to do shit, and they were a wild card team, and they won it all. Like, if you have all the teams that don't think they are going to win the World Series sell, then you're just going to give all of your players to the top team. It's going to be like Alabama versus Clemson every fucking year. The rich
Okay,
just
but
get
it's
richer.
proven.
Just-
It's proven though that this team can't win. That as constructed, it's not like that. This is the first year of the team.
But they're still 3.5 out. You
It
don't
doesn't
sell.
matter.
You don't sell.
It doesn't matter. You're not playing for the playoffs. You're playing to win. Who gives a fuck if you make the wild card game and get fucking smoked in Oakland? At Oakland, who gives a shit?
I'm just
Then
saying,
we're
it's
even more
okay, but
pissed off, 'cause-
you have to realize that they're not going to do that, because that's horrible, 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 horrible for baseball. If that means that a team that is in striking distance of the playoffs, Yankees aside, if it was any random team, you stripped the name off it, you're not
but
selling because you have a chance to make the playoffs, and that's that. That's just baseball. Matter
I'm
of
not
fact, if
saying
you have
sell.
a
I'm not
chance
saying
where you're
sell
a
the entire
couple,
team.
if you're a couple games out, people should fucking buy more. I get our situation
So, well,
is
what
not.
you said is you want to just stand pat. What does standing pat do? Then you return 2022 with the exact same fucking roster.
I'm
And
saying
then you do the same
that was
thing
my-
that we've done.
No other
for
team
2 years now.
Any other team is 3.5 back. They're not talking about selling. The teams that are talking
That's
about
what I mean.
selling are the Rangers of the world and the Colorado Rockies of the world.
I'm not saying to
fact that
sell.
we're
I'm saying to
even mentioning
retool. Get rid of the fucking dead weight and get
In
not
the
even the dead
offseason.
weight. Do something that you can do to shed payroll or something that you can get fresh faces.
Yeah,
Like
but
I
if
said
we do
earlier,
that,
you
we're playing
have the
the
core
team.
you want. That's fine. Keep the core. I'm not saying to sell everybody, but obviously something needs to change. You cannot stand pat with the same exact team every single year, 2017 to 2021, and then into 2022 and expect to change. You can't keep the same team over and over and over and over and be like, okay, well, they'll break through this year. Oh, shit. Nope. Okay, well, they got it this year. Nope. I mean, you cannot stand pat. That's all I'm saying. I don't give a shit. If you want to buy. I totally get that argument. I don't think they should, but I get the argument. If you want to sell, I get the argument. I'm just saying at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is standing pat. You cannot.
That wasn't.
stand
I've migrated from
Yeah.
that argument. And first of all, I don't think that's the worst case scenario. But second of all, I was arguing that just being against selling in general when you're in this spot. That was all I was saying.
I'm just saying that's
That's
fine.
bad for
If you want
competition.
to, no, I
strictly
agree.
a
If you want to
defending
argue
issue,
for
though.
buying, before Murphy goes, if you want to argue for buying, that's fine. And I don't necessarily agree, but I get it. Standing pat, absolutely not. You cannot stand pat. You cannot roll into 2022 with the same roster you've had for the last 4 years and expect different results. Murphy,
I
carry
agree.
on. I'm sorry.
I just think that when people think of us selling, they think back to 2016 when we got rid of Andrew Miller and Chapman and re-signed Chapman and ended up with Glaber and Clinton. Like, that's not going to happen this time around. It's not that same kind of roster. So obviously we shouldn't do nothing. But at the same time, if we do nothing at the deadline, that's not to say we can't shake things up in the offseason and lose some contracts and make some trades at that point and whatnot. And sign free agents and all that. It's not like if we don't make a move at this deadline going into 2022, it's going to be the same old song and dance all over again. So, I don't know.
All right. Do you want to get into hot or not? Because that was a little bit of.
That's one of the most contentious arguments.
Sorry,
we've had on here.
I'm heated about the Yankees, and also I had a bad day, so I just really
And you've been in
unjustly.
it. You've been in and out of the fucking stream right now, popping in
No,
and
I'm
out.
not.
Let's
I
get
was out for
into
30
hot or
seconds.
not. Who wants to do the hots? We'll start with hots. Get on a lighter note to see what's been happening. That's
Chandler's
actually
hot. Let him keep going.
all right. Chandler, we'll start with you. So the hots begin with Rugi Odor making on
Aye.
back-to-back hot lists. Last 14 days, 157 WRC plus, 286 batting average, 3 home runs, and 9 RBIs. We're buying.
Bye.
Gleyber Torres last 14 days, 175 WRC plus, 300 batting average, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 1.038 OPS.
Bye.
Domingo Germán, 7 innings pitched, no hits for the first 7. He comes in the 8th, gives up 1, gets pulled, 10 strikeouts, gives up 1 run in that outing. What do we think about Domingo?
Bye, but not to that extent, obviously.
So you bought, again, all of them. So maybe we should think about potentially picking new people to do the hots. So Odor, I agree with
Well,
the
I can
buys.
explain them all.
No, I agree with the buys. But my question before you explain all those is we'll pull it on Domingo a little bit because he's probably the most controversial of all of them. So when you think
That's
about Domingo, he's been pretty shit lately. So I just wanted to get your first initial thoughts on pulling him when he gave up the hit.
Don't mind it. He hasn't thrown more than 80 pitches since May. So I don't care about the decision of pulling him. I'm pissed off that yes, we all want Loizaga. He's been amazing. I'm pissed that they went to Loizaga because he hasn't thrown in 2 weeks and you're gonna put him in high leverage spots back to back days. And I know it'd be a totally different story if he went in and was lights out, but at face value, that's just stupid. But I get pulling Domingo because he hasn't thrown more than 80 pitches in 3 or 4 months. Fine, whatever. Don't care.
He
Whatever.
was
you
at
wanna-
93 also. So
Exactly. So and I don't mind pulling him there. But as far as buying Domingo, yes, I buy that he can be a good pitcher at this level because we've seen it. I'm not saying he's going to be Cy Young. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and throw to a 2 ERA or even like a low 3 ERA. I buy that he is a major league starter. That's it. That's all I'm buying.
So you want him as a starter, not out of the pen?
No,
he's been flirting.
fucking
Yeah,
horrible
obviously.
out of the pen.
I was just putting it out there for argument's sake. He's been out of the pen, not doing too well, but it's just so weird. It's just par for the course with this team is that how streaky everybody is. He could be the worst pitcher one day, and then he can just he could flirt with a no hitter the next. So
I mean, do you disagree though that he's got starter stuff? He carried the team during the Next Man 2019 team. Like,
no, I agree.
that's what I'm saying.
I wish
don't,
he would be a little more consistent than.
and a better person. He's just not easy to root for.
Yeah.
I don't
What do
know.
you guys
That's
think?
just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he looked really good. He looked really, really good. But I have a constant back and forth with all these starters who are just like incredibly inconsistent all the time.
We have breaking news.
What?
The Yankees have acquired
No.
Clay Holmes
Ugh, God.
from the Pirates for
the
Diego
fuck?
Castillo and Hoy Park.
What?
Wait,
Oh.
You
what?
gave up them for Clay Holmes? Who the fuck is Clay Holmes?
They just traded Hoyt
Diego
Park?
Castillo.
They gave away Park.
Yeah, they just traded Hoy Park and Diego Castillo, who are both fucking awesome.
Diego Castillo, is that the
who?
right name? He's a pitcher that was on the Rays.
No, not that guy. There's a prospect, Diego Castillo, that's really good.
So who the fuck is this?
Wait, what?
Clay Holmes. What was his
Yeah.
name?
The Yankees have announced today that they've acquired right-handed pitcher Clay Holmes from Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for Diego Castillo and Hoy Park.
How do you spell Holmes?
What the
H-O-M.
Holmes. He's 28.
Dude,
You
what?
actually just tried to spell Holmes. Just
He's he got a
H-O-M-E-S.
career.
I'm nervous,
He's
all
got a
right?
cur-
I'm.
Dude,
he's got
they
a
traded
career
Hoy Park?
5.5. He's got a 5.5 ERA for his career.
He's a negative
What?
0.1 WAR this year. Wow.
There's your sell.
Well, that's not a sell. That's a fucking.
I know. I'm
That's
just
that's
kidding.
not a sell or a buy. That's a fucking
That's a
stupid ass
disgrace.
move.
I'm
That's
getting
what
our
that is.
Yankee insider Brandon Lockridge on the call right now. Not calling, but I sent him a text. Shockingly, he doesn't know what
Yeah.
happened.
Well, I mean, that just marks it up of. That's just fucking stupid.
What is going on with this fucking team? Like, why everything we
This
just
guy's
talked
not
about?
good.
Why are we even
He's
making
like a 28-year-old AAA pitcher.
But
What the fuck?
I think it's funny that you said that's like somebody said that's a sell move when it's obviously not. But it's just like it feels like it right away. Like, how do you make that deal? And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one for us. How do you even hit send on that?
Well,
You're getting rid of prospects.
How do you
and
trade
got
Hoy
nothing in
Park?
fucking return.
Hoy Park's hitting like 350 in AAA.
We just donated Hoy
he
Park.
should have gotten Toronto.
We just gave him to the fucking Pirates.
We got this
Surely
guy
I'm
with a
missing
fucking
something.
shitty mustache. I don't even care if this guy ends up being the best.
Did we get
At
Brian
face
Reynolds
value,
at
you
least?
lose this fucking Brian. No, we got one fucking player.
How did you trade Hoy
On the
Park?
bright side, Rob Brantley got sent back down to AAA, so they have room on the
I don't
40-man
fucking
roster.
what?
I don't give a
Is
fuck.
Brian Cashman drunk? Is he just like sitting his off his shit face, like pressing yes to everything? No.
What does
fuck-
that? What does that fucking accomplish?
All right, let's move on. This is fucking ridiculous. So,
I'm reading all the fucking comments right now.
all right,
People are not very happy.
let's get to.
Oh my god.
I mean, let's talk a little bit more about Odor. Be a little bit happier while we're on the air right now. So Odor has been absolutely lights out. He's always been the locker room guy, but now he's actually performing well for an extended period of time. What do we think about? See, I wrote questions down that I wanted to go over right now about this, but my entire fucking train of thought is just thrown away. I'm flustered right now.
You didn't do the knots either.
I'm gonna get to the knot.
Oh.
Brian
They come
Cashman,
after the
not
hots.
the only one.
Well, I thought you were moving on. My bad.
No, it's about the
You do
same
you.
players. So I don't. Let's just go to the fucking knots. I mean, Brian Cashman. I'll make an audible right now and add him to the fucking knot list. Brian Cashman makes a deal for I don't know what the fuck it was, for some guy that looks like a crackhead, and he gives away Ho-Jun Park. I don't even know how to say his name, but I know he's good. And Diego Castillo, and I'm officially placing Brian Cashman on the Sun for that because that was ridiculous. I don't even need anybody to answer me on that. I'm just gonna say that he's on the Sun, and that's that.
Oh, yes.
Unanimous across the board. Yes, Brian Cashman's on the Sun. Great.
Send him to the sun.
You know, I don't even want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the knots because one it's things that we talked about already. It's lasagna. We talked about that. Whatever. He'll be bouncing back. Nobody's gonna buy that. He's gonna be fine. He's coming off the IL. You know, Yankees bullpen is one thing that I did want to talk about. We kind of already talked about it. They've been 25th in ERA with a 6 ERA in the league. Just too many knots to name to keep like nitpicking things. This team fucking sucks. The only thing that I will say that didn't make the knots is when I looked up and down the list of things that should be potentially making the knot list, a lot of the offense didn't underperform. Everybody's been kind of doing well. One person that I did want to point out that I thought was going to be on the knot list was Greg Allen, but he hasn't even done bad.
They have one bad game.
He still has a 137 WRC plus over the last week, so he's like still above average hitting wise. He just isn't batting 500. So that's why in my mind I was like, oh, did he come back down to earth? Like a little bit, but like he's still doing very well. The offense, like Damon said before, is very much playing well.
Fine.
It's just the
I would like to say
defense,
one thing.
the
I think that trade
pitching.
hurt me worse than getting fucking speared in the parking lot today. That hurt worse. Thank you, Brian Cashman. I would rather get hit at stationary in the parking lot 4 more times than ever fucking read that again.
Jail.
Oh my god, I'm heated.
He's going to
I'm heated.
jail.
What the fuck?
What do you want to talk about?
Good sigh.
I can't get this trade out of my head.
No, it's
It's
the only
ridiculous.
thing. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
One of my buddies, we were watching the game, and he called Odor the Stank Man, and I thought it was really funny because that's his last name, Odor.
I probably would laugh at that if that trade didn't come
I mean,
through.
it was.
so-
I guess it was a bad time to bring it up, but I thought I'd try to cheer
Yeah.
everybody up. So I'm gonna henceforth, he is known as the Stank
Watch
Man.
now the
Yeah.
fucking Rays are gonna get Scherzer tomorrow.
Dude, if the Rays get Scherzer,
Don't worry, we got this guy. I forget his name
Clay
already.
Holmes.
We got
Clay
Clay Holmes. He doesn't
Yeah.
stand a chance against Scherzer.
Clay Holmes just sounds like I'm about to walk out of my trailer with a 4-rack of Tallboy Budweisers and try and throw a game. Like, oh shit, my mullet got in the way. That's why I threw it over the fucking backstop. God,
He
what
is-
the
he is
fuck
from
are we
Alabama.
doing? I fucking hate the Yankees.
So John Morosi was right. He said that the 7 contenders are active in the pitching market, we're one of them. So we got our guy.
No.
I was concerned why he included our name because I was like, oh, well, I mean, I don't even know if we're going to be buyers in the pitching market and all that. Why are we going to mortgage the future? Everything we talked about at the top of the show. But Cashman was working behind the scenes while we were talking about it. So
Working
Dude,
behind
Cashman-
the scenes, yeah, working real hard.
Cashman needs to be like the Game of Thrones scene where Cersei's dragged through the streets with shame.
I'm sorry. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that conversation between Brian Cashman and the Pirates GM.
Yeah, the Pirates GM was probably fucking
He was probably
ecstatic.
like,
Wait.
yeah.
Did you say the right name? The guy that's hitting 330 in AAA? And you want Clay Holmes? Yeah, I mean, fucking done, dude. Are
I
you
was about to
joking
set him
me?
down tomorrow.
Yeah, I was
Cashman's
actually about to
literally-
cut Clay Holmes, but you can fucking have him.
You know what? Wait. Throwing Castillo, too. Not enough.
So just looking at him a little more, he's a right-handed relief pitcher. He's been in 44 games this year. No saves, no holds. 4.93 ERA.
Yes.
Just exactly.
is
what
he
we
a
need.
sidewinder at least?
I
Does anybody have any film on this guy? If he's a
Dude, I
sidewinder,
mean-
I can get behind it.
How out of touch you have to be? You know what? The Yankees have had what is it? I didn't even read the stat because my mic was
No,
fucked
he's
up.
not a sidewinder.
All right, this trade makes no sense.
If
Hold
you
on,
use
let me
it-
read
does he
this
throw
stat for
fast?
you.
Does he throw fast?
He's got to
Pull
throw
up
like
his baseball
4,000.
savant. Is that his
The
baseball
first YouTube
savant?
Yeah.
video.
All right, ready?
Oh,
Since
he's got a
June 30th,
pretty big breaking ball.
don't care. Since June 30th, when leading by 4+ runs going into the 8th, the Yankees are 3-3. The rest of baseball is 192-4. Shout out to my friend Drew who just got engaged, who sent me that stat. It's solved now. We got our reliever. We got a new fucking. We got our closer. Play
Cashman
fucking
literally.
Holmes.
Cashman.
That must be his parting move, like one giant fuck you to the Yankees before he gets
Yeah,
fired.
who
Like
is-
he has to know he's getting fired to pull a move like that. Like, hey, Hal, I'm on the phone. You're getting fired. All right, fuck you. I'm sending Hoy Park for a pile of liquid dog shit.
Cashman was literally probably like everybody, every person, every Yankee fan was tweeting and being like, "Oh, start Park," and he was probably like, "Who's that guy that everybody wanted me to start? Oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking ship him off for a bag of donuts." We were talking about the trade that we were like the Moneyball like trade where you just or semi-pro when they trade for a fucking vending machine credit. That's what just happened here. We gave away our players for vending machine.
Oh,
credit.
you like Park? You like him? Oh, see ya.
Just
No,
wait.
it's
Next,
like
we're
in
gonna see
Moneyball when,
Dominguez traded for fucking like Troy Smith.
At this point, do it. I don't give a fuck.
Wow.
No, it's Moneyball.
that really.
The manager was gonna start Pena, so he traded him.
Just everybody, watch your phones. We're gonna see breaking: Yankees trade coveted prospect Jason Dominguez for 6 Gatorade chews and the towel boy of the Oakland A's. Go fuck yourself. If Brian Cashman, if you're listening, go fuck yourself. I hope you heard that, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I hate you more than the old bitch that ran into my car today.
All right, I think that's a good time to end it.
Wish I was a Padres fan at this point.
I wish I wasn't alive.
They make great trades.
Yep.
Yeah,
See you
that
guys
is a
later.
good